Okay, friends, so as you may know, I have a new book coming out in a couple of weeks called Booze to Balance, a chill 30-day liver healing program. And I know that leads some people to doing a double take and being like, wait, why did you write a book about drinking less alcohol? And why do chiropractors love to get out of their lane? I just heard someone yesterday doing a long rant video about how chiropractic is just pseudoscience and chiropractors shouldn't be considered licensed professionals. Blah, 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 blah. Well, friends, chiropractors are licensed professionals, and that means something. And licensed professionals often branch out into quirky subspecialties within their field, especially if said professional happens to be an Enneagram Type 5, aka the investigator, which is the type most prone to hyper-specializing in some weird little corner of their field. My weird little corner is the mind-body section, and the weird little corner of that is the NET or neuro-emotional technique corner. And around the year 2005, I entered another weird little specialized corner that's centered on addiction. Back then, I took an intensive 150-hour post-grad course through the American College of Addictionology and Compulsive Disorders, and I became a certified addictionologist. I never worked exclusively in the field of addiction and recovery, but the training came in handy for sure, because guess what? About 30% of the population is addicted to something. And being able to understand and address that is pretty important for any healthcare practitioner. I no longer maintain that certification because I'm not a fan of how the whole addiction and recovery industry operates, but the knowledge and experience is mine for keeps. So that's my background when it comes to addiction. I'm going to share a few major takeaways that I got from that training, and I hope that it's useful for you too. First off, what's our definition of addiction? When I talk about addiction, I think that the simplest definition is this. An addiction is any behavior that you continue to do in spite of negative consequences. That's it. Can you be addicted to something like brushing your teeth? Probably not, because even though you do it more than once a day, I hope, every single day, there are no negative consequences to this behavior. It is generally neutral to positive. I guess unless you're doing it very badly, but usually if that's the case, then you end up stopping the bad part of it because of the negative consequences. Am I right? Some people love to go to the gym, and some might say, well, isn't that an addiction? Can be. Are they going every day and only getting good outcomes? Not an addiction. Are they going every day even though they're injured and yet they just keep popping pain pills to mask the pain and keep going anyway and hurting themselves more and more? Addiction. So yeah, continuance of a thing in spite of negative consequences. Addiction. And the next biggest thing I got from that training is that no matter what the addiction is, whether it's drinking alcohol, taking drugs, sex addiction, shopping addiction, gambling, whatever it is, many of the treatment strategies and approaches are the same. Why? Because even though the addictive behavior might be different, the thing happening in the brain in terms of neurotransmitter activity, aka the molecules of emotion, those things happening in the brain are very similar. So if we seek to settle down the brain, aka the physiology, aka the body, then we can have a big impact on healing the addiction. When it comes to addiction, do we still need a multi-pronged approach? Yes, of course we do. Addiction is always multifactorial, and that's why it's so hard to beat. And that's also why there's almost always a cycle of relapse. People who don't relapse usually have an amazing support system in place. But for years and years, the treatment approach was mostly behavior-only based, and that approach alone just wasn't that successful. Outcomes that take into consideration the big picture and which include a component of addressing body things like nutrition and somatic body work, acupuncture, etc., are way better. So, what is special about my new book, Booze to Balance, is that the 30-day program is really just 30 specific tips and activities that help one specific aspect of liver health. And the liver is the main workhorse when it comes to processing and breaking down things like alcohol. Thus, the title, Booze to Balance. Because who's out there searching liver health books? Nobody. That's who. But since all addictions have similar physiology when we look at it from the neurological level, then the basic tools that help to balance one addiction will often help with others. So even if you're not much of a drinker, but if you are a sugar addict, will this book help you? Yes. If you're not much of a sugar or alcohol user, but you have a porn addiction, will this book help you? Yes, etc., etc. I think that addiction treatment and awareness has come a long way in the last 20 years, but it's still highly stigmatized and there still isn't enough support or education out there. So I'm hoping to be a little part of the change in the positive direction, a little light blinking in the dark. And that's all I have for today. So until next time, keep on shining in the dark.